He promised to love her forever, but the DNA test arrived on their wedding day. The sun was golden that morning, the kind that makes everything look like a promise. Emily Rose stood before the mirror, adjusting her wedding veil with trembling fingers. The reflection staring back at her was everything she'd dreamed of since she was a little girl. White silk, soft curls, and the faintest hint of nervous joy in her eyes. Downstairs, the laughter of bridesmaids mixed with the clinking of champagne glasses. "You ready to become Mrs. Carter?" one of them teased. Emily smiled, a smile that barely hid the ache in her stomach, because deep down something felt off. Maybe it was nerves. Maybe it was just the weight of forever pressing on her chest. Or maybe it was because of the small brown envelope that arrived that morning, unmarked, sitting quietly among the wedding gifts. She almost didn't notice it, but when she did, something inside her froze. There was no sender's name, just her name, Emily Rose. She picked it up, her fingers trembling, the paper thin and oddly cold. She tore the edge carefully and pulled out a single sheet of paper. It wasn't a letter, it was a DNA test result. And beneath her name, beside the bold black letters, "Father's Match," were two words that stole the air from her lungs. No relation. Her vision blurred, the world tilted. Somewhere downstairs, the wedding music began to play. The bridesmaids called her name, but Emily just stood there, clutching the paper, her heart pounding with a new kind of terror. Because if this was real, then the man waiting for her at the altar, the man who promised to love her forever, might not be who she thought he was. The church doors opened with a slow, aching creak. Every head turned, every whisper faded, and there she was, Emily Rose, radiant in white, holding a bouquet that hid more than flowers. Inside it, folded tightly, was the DNA test, the truth she wasn't ready to face. Her heartbeat thudded louder than the organ music. Step by step, she moved down the aisle, each stride feeling heavier, like she was walking toward a secret rather than a marriage. At the altar stood Michael Carter, the man she loved since college, the man who once told her, "Even if the whole world changed, I'd still choose you." He looked perfect in his tux, smiling softly, eyes warm, familiar. But today, something in his gaze felt different, colder, calculated, like he knew something she didn't. When she reached him, his hand found hers, firm, steady, but she felt no comfort. The priest began to speak, but Emily could barely hear him. Her mind replayed those two words from the paper, no relation. No relation to who? Her father, or to Michael himself? She tried to glance at him, but his expression was unreadable, too calm. The priest continued, "If anyone here knows a reason these two should not be joined in holy matrimony, speak now." The silence that followed was suffocating. And then, a sound, a faint click. Emily's eyes flicked toward the back pew. A man in a gray suit held up a phone, recording. But it wasn't the phone that made her freeze. It was the face, because she knew that face. It was the same man she'd seen weeks ago, watching her from across the parking lot outside Michael's office. Her throat tightened. The music swelled again, and the priest's voice faded into a blur. She forced a smile, forced the words, "I do." The crowd cheered, the cameras flashed, and when Michael leaned in to kiss her, she felt it again. The same chill she'd felt from that paper, the same emptiness from that touch. But what broke her wasn't the kiss. It was what he whispered in her ear right after it, so softly that no one else could hear. "You shouldn't have opened that envelope." Emily's heart stopped. Her bouquet slipped from her hands, and the man in the gray suit walked quietly out of the church. The reception hall glowed with golden lights, laughter echoing through the air like nothing had gone wrong. Glasses clinked, music played, and everyone around Emily Rose looked so happy. But beneath that perfect surface, she felt like the only person standing in a nightmare. Her smile hurt. Her cheeks ached from pretending. Every congratulations, every toast, felt like a weight pressing down on her chest. Michael was beside her, arm around her waist, his charm effortless as ever. He laughed, he talked, he danced, but Emily kept hearing the same sentence repeating in her mind. "You shouldn't have opened that envelope." What did he mean? How did he know about it? When the music slowed, she slipped away, past the crowd, past the smell of champagne and roses, into the quiet hallway behind the banquet room. Her heels clicked against the marble floor as she headed straight to the security desk. The man in a gray suit, the one recording, she needed to know who he was. "Hi," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "Can you show me the guest list? I think there's been a mix-up." The coordinator smiled politely and handed her a printed list. She scanned each name, family, friends, colleagues, even distant cousins, but the name she was looking for wasn't there. No man in a gray suit, no unknown guest. Her throat went dry. "He was sitting near the back," she insisted. "Tall, maybe mid-40s, gray suit, black hair, had a phone out. He was recording us." The coordinator frowned. "Ma'am, everyone at your wedding was registered. No one fits that description. Emily's stomach twisted. She felt the room spinning around her. Can you check the security footage? She whispered. The woman hesitated. Those files are handled by the hotel system. But sure, I can take a quick look. Minutes passed. The screen flickered. Footage from the ceremony. Guests arriving. The walk down the aisle. And then it froze. The back pew. Empty. The space where the man had been sitting was completely blank, like he had never existed. Emily stumbled back. That's impossible. I saw him. Maybe it was just the lighting, sweetheart, the woman said kindly. You must be exhausted. But Emily wasn't tired. She was terrified. She ran back to the reception, searching for Michael. He was on the dance floor, surrounded by guests, laughing like nothing in the world mattered. She watched him, studied every smile, every movement, trying to find even one crack in the perfection. When their eyes met, he tilted his head slightly, that same calm smile still on his lips. Everything okay, Mrs. Carter? He asked. The way he said it made her shiver. Michael, she whispered, pulling him aside. That man, the one in the gray suit, he's gone. He's not in the footage. He's not even on the list. For a brief moment, something flickered in his eyes. Surprise, maybe, or fear. But it disappeared as quickly as it came. You're just stressed, Em, he said gently, brushing a strand of hair from her face. It's been a long day. Forget about it. He kissed her forehead, but his touch made her skin crawl. Later that night, when the guests had gone, and the silence of their honeymoon suite settled in, Emily found herself standing by the window, holding her phone. She opened the wedding photos that had already been uploaded by friends, dozens of them. She zoomed in on the ceremony pictures, her eyes scanning the crowd. There he was, the man in the gray suit, sitting in the last row watching her. But in the next photo, taken just seconds later, he was gone. Her hands shook. She tapped on the image, enlarging his face, and then she noticed something she hadn't before. The reflection in the polished pew next to him. It wasn't his reflection, it was Michael's. Emily dropped the phone. Her heart raced, pounding so loud she could barely breathe. She turned toward the bed and froze. Michael was standing there in the dark, watching her. His voice was soft, almost kind. You found him, didn't you? Emily took a step back, her hand trembling. Who is he, Michael? He smiled faintly. Someone who shouldn't exist anymore. And before she could ask anything else, the lights flickered, and the entire suite went dark. The lights didn't just flicker, they vanished. 1 second, the soft glow of the honeymoon suite bathed everything in gold. The next, the entire room was swallowed by darkness. Emily froze. Her heart raced so loud she could almost hear it echoing off the walls. Michael, she whispered. No answer. The silence was so complete it felt alive. Then, a soft metallic sound, like something sliding against glass. She reached out into the darkness, her fingers brushing the edge of the nightstand. Her phone screen glowed faintly, lighting up the corner of the room. The bed was empty. Michael was gone. Emily's throat went dry. She turned toward the door, locked from the inside. The curtains swayed though the windows were closed, as if something invisible had just passed through. She grabbed her phone, turning on the flashlight. Her reflection flickered in the mirror, pale, trembling, eyes wide with panic. That's when she noticed it. The bouquet, it was still on the vanity, but the envelope, the DNA test, was gone. Her hands trembled. She tore through her purse, the dresser, the drawers, nothing. The paper that had torn her world apart had vanished into thin air. Suddenly, her phone buzzed. A text from Michael, but he wasn't there. Don't look for me. She stared at the message, her pulse thundering in her ears. Then another one appeared. Before she could even breathe. You were never supposed to see that test. Her mouth went dry. Her fingers hovered over the screen, typing, deleting, typing again. Michael, where are you? What's going on? No reply. Instead, her phone began to ring. The name flashing across the screen. Michael Carter. She answered. Michael. Static. Then a breath. He told you, didn't he? It wasn't Michael's voice. It was deeper, distorted, almost mechanical. Like two voices layered over one another. Emily's stomach twisted. Who is this? You shouldn't have opened it, Emily. Her flashlight flickered. The reflection in the mirror began to warp, her face shifting, distorting, as if the glass was melting. You think you know who you married? The voice whispered, closer now, though the phone was inches from her ear. But you don't even know who you are. Emily's breathing grew shallow. She turned. The bed, the window, the shadows, all looked wrong. The air felt colder, heavier, like the walls were closing in. She dropped the phone and stumbled toward the bathroom, flicking on the light, the only light that still worked. She gripped the sink, trying to catch her breath, trying to remind herself that this was real. That's when she saw it. On the bathroom mirror, written in the fog from her breath. 4 words, check your birth record. Emily's heart nearly stopped. Her hand trembled as she wiped the steam away, revealing the words scrawled faintly beneath, not written in lipstick or pen, but something darker, almost like blood. And then her phone buzzed again, a photo this time. She hesitated, her thumb hovering over the screen before opening it. It was an old photo. 2 men. One of them was Michael. The other was the man in the gray suit. They were standing together, smiling. Behind them, a small hospital sign read, Riverside Genetics Center, 1997. Emily's knees nearly gave out because she recognized that name. It was the same place where her mother had once worked. Before she died, the phone slipped from her hands and shattered on the floor. The room went completely dark again, and in that darkness she heard a soft whisper. Not from the phone this time, but right behind her. You were part of this long before you met me. She spun around, but there was no one there. Only her reflection staring back from the mirror. And for the first time, it wasn't moving the same way she was. Emily couldn't tell how long she stood there, frozen, staring into that mirror. The reflection blinked a second too late, like it was thinking on its own. Her breath came in shaky bursts, the room still cloaked in uneasy silence. Somewhere outside, thunder rumbled, and for a split second, lightning illuminated her pale face, and the faint outline of someone standing right behind her in the mirror. She spun around. Nothing, just the half-open bathroom door swaying slightly, as if someone had brushed past it. Her phone lay shattered on the floor, still buzzing weakly, the broken screen flashing like a dying heartbeat. Emily knelt down, careful not to cut herself, and tried to piece it together. But the last message wouldn't go away. You were part of this long before you met me, she whispered to herself. What does that even mean? Her trembling fingers scrolled back through the photos, stopping at the hospital sign. Riverside Genetics Center. Her mother had worked there before she died in a lab fire, or so they said. But now she wasn't sure she believed anything anymore. Emily grabbed her purse, her car keys, and the crumpled remains of the wedding bouquet. She had to go. She couldn't stay another second in that suite, not after what she'd seen. As she opened the door, her eyes caught something taped to the inside of it, a small faded birth certificate. Her birth certificate. Only it didn't say Emily Carter. It said Emily Green, and under mother's name, Dr. Lila Green. Father's name, confidential. Her knees went weak. Confidential, she whispered. What the hell does that mean? A sudden knock on the door made her drop the paper. 3 slow, deliberate knocks. She froze. Emily, it was Michael's voice. Calm, too calm. She backed away, eyes darting to the window. Go away, she shouted, but his voice grew softer, almost pleading. Please, Em, I didn't mean for you to find out this way. Just open the door. We can fix this. Tears filled her eyes. Fix what, Michael? The lies? The DNA test? Who even am I? He sighed. You were never supposed to know. It was safer that way. The words sent chills down her spine. Safer? What are you talking about? Your mother worked on something she shouldn't have. You weren't supposed to survive that fire, Emily. The blood drained from her face. She whispered, You're lying. Open the door and I'll tell you everything. The silence stretched, heavy and suffocating. Emily's heart screamed, don't trust him. But her mind, desperate for answers, made her reach for the handle. Before she could turn it, the lights flickered back on, blinding white for just a second, and she saw it through the peephole. Michael, standing there. But the face wasn't his. It shifted, like the skin itself was sliding, molding, reshaping. For one horrifying second, the eyes staring back at her were her own. Emily stumbled backward, gasping. The lights went out again. This time, they didn't come back, and from behind the door his voice whispered, not calm anymore, but cold, hollow, layered with something inhuman. You were the experiment, Emily, and now they want you back. The mirror behind her cracked. Emily screamed. Rain poured down in thick, icy sheets as Emily's car tore through the empty highway. Her wedding dress, now wrinkled and stained, clung to her like a ghost of the life she thought she had. The headlights carved through the darkness, revealing flashes of trees, road signs, and shadows that seemed to move when she wasn't looking. Riverside Genetics Center. The words on the old road sign glowed faintly in the storm. The building stood in the distance, abandoned, swallowed by vines and silence. Windows shattered, doors half broken. It looked more like a tomb than a research lab. Emily stepped out, umbrella trembling in her hand. Every gust of wind seemed to whisper her name. The parking lot was cracked and overgrown, yet one car sat there, a black sedan, engine warm. Someone was already inside. She swallowed hard and approached the entrance. The door creaked open on its own, the sound echoing down long dark corridors lined with dust-covered nameplates. Dr. Lila Green, her mother's office. Emily's flashlight cut through the dark, landing on old family photos pinned to a board. Her mother, smiling, younger, holding a baby. But the baby's face had been burned out of the photo as if someone had erased it. The next moment, thunder cracked and something fell from the ceiling. A folder, thick, yellowed, marked, Project E13. Emily's fingers trembled as she opened it. Inside, lab reports, DNA strands, embryo records, and a label on top. Subject E13. Hybrid gene integration, viable success. Lila Green, authorized. Her eyes darted to the bottom of the page, where a familiar signature glared back at her. Michael Carter, lead genetic analyst. Emily's heart stopped. Michael wasn't just her husband. He had worked with her mother. She stumbled backward, the folder falling from her hands. Pages scattered across the floor, covered in strange symbols. Genetic codes that looked almost like words. A hidden pattern. A sudden flicker of light drew her gaze. Her mother's old computer screen. It shouldn't have been working, but it glowed faintly, showing a single message in the center of the screen. If you're reading this, Emily, run. Her breath caught. Mom, she whispered. The cursor blinked, and the message changed. They're still watching. Behind her, a door slammed. She spun, the black sedan's headlights now shining directly through the broken windows. A figure stepped inside the building. Tall, calm, holding an umbrella. Michael. His eyes met hers, not angry, not human. Cold, observant. You shouldn't have come here, Emily. She backed away, voice shaking. What did you do to me? You were never supposed to know. Your mother wanted to save you. I wanted to perfect you. He stepped closer. You were born from her DNA, and mine. You're not my wife, Emily. You're my creation. Emily's stomach twisted, her vision spinning. The world tilted. No, that's not true. Michael smiled faintly, the kind of smile that doesn't reach the eyes. The test wasn't a betrayal, Emily. It was proof. Lightning flashed, illuminating the reflection behind her. Another Emily standing in the glass wall, her expression blank, her eyes glowing faintly. The reflection whispered, we were both made to replace her. And then the lights exploded. Emily screamed as the entire lab filled with a blinding white light. And when it faded, Michael and the reflection were gone. Only the folder remained, open on the floor. On the final page, written in her mother's handwriting, if she ever finds you, remember she's not the only one who survived. Emily collapsed to her knees, clutching the file, tears mixing with rain. For the first time she realized she wasn't alone. The storm hadn't stopped. It only got worse. Emily drove aimlessly through the night, her hands trembling on the wheel, her mind drowning in the same words echoing over and over. You're my creation. The roads blurred, her tears blurred, her world blurred. When she finally stopped, she realized she'd driven to the one place she hadn't been since her mother's funeral, the old Green family house. The lights were off. The porch creaked under her shoes as she stepped up, rain dripping from her hair. The key still worked. Inside, the air was thick with dust and memories. Photos lined the hallway. Her childhood, her mother, birthdays, laughter, but something was off. In each frame, there was someone else standing beside her, blurred, almost scratched out, like someone had deliberately erased another face. She moved closer, and that's when she saw it. A half-burned photo in the corner of a frame. Two little girls, identical, holding hands, one smiling, one crying. Emily's breath hitched. No, she whispered. That's not possible. A sound came from the kitchen. Slow, deliberate footsteps. She grabbed a knife from the counter, her heart racing. Who's there? No reply. Just the faint creak of a door opening somewhere deeper inside. She followed the sound down the hall until she reached the basement door. It was slightly open, and a faint light flickered below. Each step down the stairs felt heavier, colder, and then she saw her, sitting in the middle of the room. A woman, same face, same eyes, same everything, but her skin was pale, her hair shorter, her eyes sharper. The woman smiled faintly. I was wondering when you'd find me. Emily's knife trembled. Who are you? The woman tilted her head. I think you know. Lightning flashed through the small window, and in that brief burst of light, Emily saw the scar on the woman's neck, the same scar Emily had from a childhood accident. They told me you died, the other said quietly. They told me I was the only one who survived the fire. Emily's voice broke. The fire? You were in the lab too? The woman nodded slowly. We both were. Project E13 wasn't one child. It was two. The experiment was about replication, perfect genetic mirrors, but only one could live outside. One had to stay behind, to be studied. Emily felt her stomach twist. You're lying. Am I? The other Emily stepped closer, her expression unreadable. Your mother didn't just love you, Emily. She chose you. She made them believe I didn't make it. But Michael, he found me. He fixed me. He made me better. The words cut like glass. Emily stumbled back. You're the reflection. The woman smiled faintly. No, I'm the original. Lightning flashed again, and for a second Emily saw something shimmer beneath her twin's skin, like the faint pulse of metal under flesh. You're not ready for the truth, the other said softly. But I am. Before Emily could speak, the power flickered and the lights went out again. When they came back, the woman was gone. Only a message was scrawled across the basement wall in red marker. Finish what Mom started. Emily sank to her knees, shaking. She looked around and noticed the basement wasn't empty. Old lab equipment lined the walls, computers, vials, and a single metal pod with her mother's handwriting on the side. E13, Regeneration Protocol, Phase 2. Her reflection hadn't been haunting her. It had been waiting for her. Emily stared at the pod, and for the first time, she wondered if she was the real one after all. The rain had stopped by dawn, but the silence it left behind was worse. Emily hadn't slept. She sat in the basement, surrounded by the ghosts of her past, the photos, the pod, and the message on the wall that refused to fade. Finish what Mom started. Her fingers traced the metal edge of the pod, cold, smooth, humming faintly. Inside, beneath a layer of glass, was a thin black device, a recording chip. She hesitated, then pressed play. The static was deafening at first. Then, her mother's voice. "If you're hearing this, Emily, then you found her." Emily froze. Tears filled her eyes before she could even breathe. "They told me Project E13 would save lives, that it would cure disease, eliminate genetic flaws. I believed them. I was so blinded by hope that I didn't see what I was creating." A pause. A trembling exhale. "You, both of you." The sound of quiet sobbing came through the speaker. "You and your sister were perfect, every cell identical, but something happened, something I couldn't explain. You developed empathy, humanity, love. The other developed hunger, curiosity, without conscience." Emily's heart pounded. "No," she whispered. "They wanted to keep her, to study her. I couldn't let that happen. So I took you and burned everything else. I told them the other had died. I told them the experiment failed." A trembling silence followed. "But she didn't die. Michael found her. He saw potential where I saw danger. He called it evolution. I called it murder." The audio distorted for a moment, like the memory itself didn't want to play. "Emily, if she finds you, listen carefully. She believes she's the original. She isn't. You are. But you share the same code. If she touches you, if your blood mixes, she'll overwrite you. She'll become you completely." Emily's breath caught. The room spun. That's what they were testing for. Replacement, not creation. You were never supposed to meet. I built safeguards, but they only work if you run. Please, baby, don't look for her. Don't look for him. Don't look for me. Run. A long silence. Then her mother's voice broke one last time. "If I could choose again, I'd save you both." The recording ended. The world seemed to collapse inward. Emily sat there for what felt like forever, the weight of her mother's guilt pressing down on her. Outside, the sun broke weakly through the clouds, lighting the dust in the air like falling ash. She wiped her tears and whispered, "You were wrong, Mom. I can't just run." She turned to the pod, the regeneration protocol. A faint hum echoed from inside, rhythmic, like a heartbeat, and suddenly, she knew what it was. It wasn't a machine. It was a cradle. Her mother hadn't been working on destruction. She had been working on redemption. A flicker of movement drew her eyes to the far wall, the shadow of someone standing at the top of the basement stairs. The other Emily. Her voice was calm, too calm. "Now you know the truth." Emily stood slowly, her mother's voice still echoing in her mind. "You're not supposed to be here," she said quietly. The other Emily tilted her head. "Neither are you. She built two hearts for one world. It's time to fix that." Emily backed up toward the pod, her pulse racing. "You don't have to do this." "Oh, but I do," the other said softly. "She promised to love us both. I'm just here to make her keep that promise." Lightning flashed, and this time, Emily saw her clearly. Her twin skin was cracked, like porcelain beneath the surface. Faint lines glowing with light. Artificial veins. Synthetic flesh. Emily whispered, voice trembling. "You're breaking apart." The other Emily smiled faintly. "So are you." The light flickered again, and when it came back, she was gone. Emily turned toward the pod. Her reflection shimmered in the glass, her face, and behind it, a second one, just beginning to take shape. She touched the glass, whispering, "Mom, what did you start?" The hum grew louder, and from somewhere deep inside the machine, something moved. The air was thick with electricity. The hum of the pod had grown into a low, steady pulse that matched Emily's heartbeat. She could feel it vibrating through the floor, through her bones, through whatever part of her was still human. The basement door creaked again. She didn't have to look. She could feel the other Emily standing there, breathing in sync with her. "You felt it too, didn't you?" the other whispered. "It's calling to us." Emily turned slowly, her face pale, her hands trembling. "It's not calling us," she said. "It's warning us." Her twin smiled faintly, stepping down one creaking stair at a time. "You still think you're the real one? That's cute." "Stop," Emily said, voice cracking. "Mom said," the other cut her off, her tone suddenly sharp. She lied to both of us. She wanted one perfect daughter, so she built two broken ones." Emily's chest tightened. "You don't have to do this." The other tilted her head, eyes glinting in the dim light. "Don't I? You have her memories, her name, her life. I have nothing but pain and code. Tell me, Emily, if you were me, wouldn't you want it all back?" Thunder rolled outside, shaking the windows. Before Emily could speak, the other lunged, Too fast, too strong. The knife clattered to the floor as Emily fell back, slamming into the pod. The hum grew louder. Blood spilled, bright red against the metal floor. One drop, then another. It happened too fast. Both Emily's froze as the drops mixed, soaking into the glowing lines that ran along the pod. The hum shifted. Higher now. Frantic. No, 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 Emily cried. It's reacting. The other Emily's eyes widened. She stumbled back, clutching her arm, where the veins beneath her skin pulsed violently, glowing brighter. What did you do? Emily tried to move, but the air itself seemed to pull them together. Magnetic, inevitable. Their reflections blurred on the glass, merging into one indistinguishable face. The pod's screen flickered to life. A voice, faint, mechanical, and hauntingly familiar, echoed through the room. Phase 2 initiated. Gene integration in progress. Emily's mother's voice, but distorted, cold, automated. The other Emily gasped, her body trembling. She built this to join us, not to save us. Emily's breath hitched. No, she wanted to stop this. Maybe she did, her twin whispered, stepping closer. But maybe she couldn't. The lights exploded. For a second, just one, the two Emilys locked eyes. And in that single heartbeat, Emily saw everything. Her sister's pain, loneliness, envy, and love. Then the world vanished in white. When the light faded, the basement was silent. The pod door stood open. Inside, a single figure lay unconscious, covered in blood and light. One heartbeat, one body, one Emily. But whose heartbeat was it? The figure's eyes fluttered open, one blue, one green. She whispered weakly, voice trembling, "Mom, am I finally whole?" The world came back in fragments. Sound before sight, breath before thought. Rain again, always rain. Emily blinked her eyes open, but the light hurt. It wasn't just sunlight, it was different, warmer, sharper. She sat up slowly. The basement was gone. The house was gone. She was outside, standing in the middle of a field that shimmered like glass after a storm. Birds sang somewhere in the distance. For a moment she thought she'd dreamed everything. The lab, the other her, the blood. But then she caught her reflection in a puddle and froze. One blue eye, one green. Her fingers trembled as she touched her face. Her voice cracked. What am I?" A whisper answered her, soft, echoing, almost inside her head. "We are." She spun around. No one there. But she felt her, the other Emily, inside her thoughts. Quiet, but alive. "You're not supposed to be here," Emily whispered. "Neither were you," the voice replied. "But she gave us both a chance." Emily's knees gave out. She fell to the wet grass, clutching her chest as flashes tore through her mind. Two sets of memories colliding, two lives overlapping. The childhood laughter, the experiments, the fire, the wedding, all of it folding into one seamless timeline. She could see through both sets of eyes. Her mother's lab, Michael's betrayal, the moment she was chosen, and the moment she was left behind. "It hurts," she whispered. "It's supposed to," the voice said gently. "That's what makes us real." Emily looked toward the horizon, the faint outline of the city in the distance. Everything felt lighter, brighter, but wrong. She noticed people walking, cars moving, and then she saw her reflection again in a car window. For a split second, her face flickered, her features shifting between the two Emilys like a glitch. Her mother's voice echoed faintly through her head. The last words from the recording, "You share the same code. If she touches you, she'll overwrite you." Emily whispered, "We already did." Suddenly, her phone buzzed in her pocket. An unknown number. One message. "E13 complete. Welcome home." Her blood ran cold. She turned the phone over. The back was stamped with the same logo she saw in the lab. Riverside Genetics. "It's not over," she said quietly. "No," the voice answered. "It's beginning." Emily stood up, the storm clouds clearing above her. Her reflection looked back from the puddle, and this time it smiled on its own. She whispered, almost to herself, "Maybe we were never meant to be perfect." The reflection whispered back, "Maybe we were meant to be human." The wind carried the words away as the screen faded to black, and the last sound, faint, distant, was her mother's voice, soft as memory. "My daughters, both of you." End of story.